Seriously, when are people going to stop buying nice big countryside mansions in the middle of nowhere in England? Never works out, does it? So, as we continue on with October, again, here we have another scary movie for us to review. So, I'm going to let you know right now, spoilers, there's going to be some spoiler talk in here, so if you have not seen the others, definitely go see it before you see this movies. So again, spoilers are coming, you have been warned. So The Others was directed by Alejandro Amenabar and came out back in 2001 and stars Nicole Kidman as a mother of two children. And these two children have a very unique condition where they are actually allergic to sunlight. And so this makes it to where she constantly has to keep all of her windows drawn and basically not only lives a life of pure darkness, but also they live in this mansion in the English countryside right after World War II, and it's on the outskirts of a very small town, and so she lives a life of isolation as well. And so throughout this movie, you kind of see that this life in the dark and this life of isolation has definitely taken a toll on her. And that I want to mention is a young actress in this movie named Alekina Mann. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She plays Nicole Kidman's daughter, Anne. And kid actors are, in my opinion, a big risk for movies because more often than not, child actors annoy me because most of the time they really can't act. And I mean, that's understandable. They're young children, and being able to act on the level of, people who've studied the art for, decades, it is a tall order. But Alekina Mann in this movie, oh my heck, she was fantastic. She walks that line of being an innocent child, of being an adventurous child, of being kind of a creepy kid, but she never goes like full Damien or full Danny from The Shining. Her creepiness comes more from she kind of loves to pester her brother. Because, again, these two live a life of isolation and in darkness, and so they don't have other kids to play with, and so her character, Anna, really kind of gets her kicks out of kind of teasing and, her younger brother. So the rest of the cast consists of these three people who show up at their door one day, one to be the nanny, one to be the maid, and one to be the gardener. And they take care of the grounds, and throughout the movie, it's heavily hinted that there's something really, really, really off about these people, and they're just kind of, something's just not right. And of course, things start happening, as they often do in giant houses in the British countryside, isolated in the middle of nowhere. They start hearing sounds, and they start hearing, doors are opening on their own, and things are turning up missing, and the daughter Anna keeps insisting that there's a boy in the house, and that there's a mother, that there's all these other people in the house. And of course, Nicole Kidman, she plays this very, very religious woman, makes her children read from the Bible, memorizing biblical passages, teaching them even at a young age of going to hell and things like that. And so the idea that something supernatural is going on in the house is just not going to sit well with a woman like her. But then even she starts to hear the noises, and she doesn't quite know what to make of them. And throughout this movie, the acting is amazing. The cinematography is amazing. The directing is amazing. The atmosphere is amazing. The only real problem with this movie that I had was once the big reveal at the end happens, and the big plot twist is revealed, you then reflect on it, and this movie had a ton of plot holes. So, again, spoiler alert here, okay? All right? Again, if you haven't seen the movie, turn this video off right now. The big plot twist, in my opinion, was a plot twist that was genius, and that is that it turns out that Nicole Kidman and her 2 children, they're the ghosts haunting the house, and that the people that the daughter has seen, they're actually the family who live in the house. Dun, dun, dun! So this idea that the whole time we've actually been following the ghosts, I found fascinating. And it turns out that, of course, Nicole Kidman, her husband was killed in the war, and she went insane, killed the 2 kids, and then killed herself. And this is the major problem that I have with this movie, is that in a movie that has, supernatural effects, one of the things that this movie has to do is it has to establish rules, and one of the rules they immediately establish is that Nicole Kidman nor the kids cannot leave the grounds of the house. And I think that has to do with something with where they died. And there's a scene where Christopher Eccleston plays her husband, who then comes back from the war, spends some time with her, and then just up and leaves. Okay, once you see the movie, you realize that whole scene, I think, is just a giant red herring. They're trying to throw you off of the, off of the scent of the real ending of the movie, which, when you reflect on it, doesn't make any sense. It turns out that the 3 servants who mysteriously showed up, they were previous tenants of the house even before Nicole Kidman and her family bought the house, and they died about 50 years before they moved in. And so this whole notion that they've shown up to the house, and you find out that the creepiness from these guys is they're here to make them realize that they're ghosts as well, that no, you're dead, and and you're like us. Why do these guys care? Why do they go through this big, facade of trying to show them that they're really dead? They never establish why these 3 other people care. Why they suddenly care that Nicole Kidman knows that she's dead. So you have that aspect of it, the 3 mysterious people. Again, I think it was just to make us think that maybe they're, something is wrong with them. And, there's that. And then there's the whole husband coming back out of nowhere, which, if your rule is that, you're trapped where you died, he should not have been able to leave the battlefield. He died in the war. And so it's reasons like that kind of pull me away from the movie. I want to emphasize that in the end, The Others is a fantastic haunted house movie. It's just the atmosphere, the acting, all of that is so well done. And in the end, I'm going to give The Others a B. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much again for watching. Please like and subscribe this video. Follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Again, the month of October is still upon us, and so I'm going to be doing some more scary movies. And of course, my next review is going to be another episode of Ellen's Pick. So we're going to see what Ellen has in store for me. This has been The Fanboy, and I'll see you next time.